63 BC Publius Cornelius Lentulus, Roman statesman. In 1212 Derek Roman II of Ur, Bishop of Utrecht 1197-1212, dies. In 1244 Johanna of Constantinople, Countess of Flanders 1205-44, dies. In 1355 Jan Roman III, Duke of Brabant and Limburg, dies. In 1560 Francis Roman II, King of France 1559-60 and husband of Mary, Queen of Scots, dies of an ear infection at 16. In 1570 Johann Friis, Danish statesman Chancellor of Denmark, helped establish Lutheranism, dies at 76. In 1594 Gerardus Mercator, Flemish geographer, globe maker, and cartographer introduced the term atlas, added rim lines to aid navigation by sea. Mercator 1569 world map, dies at 82. In 1624 Gaspard Bauhin, Swiss botanist who published some of the first works of systemic botany, dies at 64. In 1654 Jean François Sarrazin, French writer. In 1663 Severo Bonini, Italian composer and monk, dies at 80. In 1675 John Lightfoot, English theologist and scholar Horae Hebraicae, dies at 73. In 1686 Nicolas Steno, Danish scientist prominent in anatomy and geology, and later Catholic priest, bishop, and candidate for sainthood, dies at 48. In 1745 Christoph Förster, German composer, dies at 52. In 1749 Pierre Gaultier de Varennes, Sieur de la Vie Rendrai, French-Canadian military officer, fur trader, and explorer of North Dakota and the upper Missouri River, dies at 64. In 1758 Johann Friedrich Fasch, German violinist, harpsichordist, organist, kapellmeister, and composer, dies at 70. In 1770 James Stirling, Scottish mathematician, formula of Stirling, dies at 78. American poet, he was both the second published African-American poet and first published African-American woman, dies in Boston at 31. Austrian musical prodigy and composer The Marriage of Figaro, Jupiter Symphony, dies at 35. In 1799 Robert Kimmerling, Austrian composer, dies at 61. In 1818 Bruno Daalberg, Anonymus Belga, sect of High Council Adel, dies at 60. In 1819 Friedrich Leopold Graf zu Stolberg, German poet, lawyer and translator, dies at 69. In 1835 August von Platen, German poet, dies at 39. In 1837 Alexis Bachelot, French missionary, led first permanent Catholic mission to Hawaii, dies at sea at 41. In 1842 Marie-Jean Auguste Vestris, French ballet dancer, dies at 82. In 1853 Johann Peter Heuschkel, German oboist and composer, dies at 80. In 1859 Louis Poinsot, French mathematician and physicist, invented geometrical mechanics, dies at 82. French author The Three Musketeers, the Count of Monte Cristo, dies at 68. In 1870 David G. Burnett, interim president of the Republic of Texas, dies at 82. In 1886 Peter Hofstede de Groot, Dutch Reformed theologist, dies at 84. In 1887 Eliza Roxcy Snow, American poet, historian and religious leader of the Latter-day Saints, dies at 83. In 1891 Pedro Roman II, Emperor of Brazil 1831-89, dies of pneumonia at 66. In 1894 Chief Gaul, Sioux chief, commander at the Battle of Little Bighorn B. 1840. In 1899 Henry Tate, English sugar producer, established Tate Gallery in London, dies at 80. In 1902 Henry Stephen Cutler, American church organist and hymn composer, dies at 78. In 1916 Hans Richter, Austrian-Hungarian orchestral and opera conductor, who led first complete performance of Richard Wagner's Der Ring des Nibelungen at the Bayreuth Festspielhaus 1876, dies at 73. In 1916 Princess Augusta of Cambridge, Grand Duchess of Mecklenburg-Strelitz and granddaughter of George Roman III, dies at 94. In 1920 Benjamin Holt, American businessman Holt Manufacturing, Caterpillar, and inventor Crawler-type tread tractor, dies at 71. In 1922, Samuel Muller-Fz, Dutch historian and archivist, dies at 74. In 1925, Wilhelmina Drucker-Lensing, Dutch feminist and writer, Women's Mutual Protection Society, dies at 78. In 1925, W. dies or Raymond Regiment, Polish novelist CHOP, the Peasants' Nobel Prize for Literature, 1924, dies at 58. 1. French Impressionist painter Water Lilies, Haystacks, Poplars, dies from lung cancer at 86. In 1927, Fyodor Sologub, Russian symbolist, novelist, poet, and translator, dies at 64. In 1928, Johann Bakker Sr., Dutch actor and husband of Truus Soot, dies at 61. In 1931, Vachel Lindsay, American poet, b. 1879. In 1935, Frans Arends, Dutch literary critic, years gone by, dies at 78. In 1940, Jan Kubelik, Czech composer, dies at 60. In 1940, Mordechai Friis, Jewish Greek military officer, b. 1893. In 1941, Amrita Shergill, Hungarian Indian painter, described as the Indian Frida Kahlo and one of the greatest avant-garde women artists of the early 20th century, dies of complications from a failed abortion at 28. In 1950, Sri Aurobindo Ghose, Indian guru and nationalist, dies at 78. 1951, Shoeless, Joe Jackson, American baseball outfielder, World Series 1917, Chicago White Sox, in 1919 Black Sox scandal, dies from a heart attack at 64. In 1951, Abanindranath Tagore, Indian writer, b. 1871. In 1953, Jorge Negrete Moreno, Mexican singer and actor, the rebel, La Madrina del Diablo, dies of hepatitis at 42. In 1955, Glenn Luther Martin, American pioneering aviator, founded what became Lockheed Martin, dies at 69. In 1955, Paul Harvey, American actress, Spellbound, Calamity Jane, Eldorado, Jamboree, dies at 73. In 1958, Ferdinand Bruckner Theodor Tagore, Austrian-German playwright, Rhesus, dies at 67. In 1959, K.S. Julip Synergy, English-Indian cricketer, 12 tests for England, 995 runs, dies at 54. In 1963, Herbert H. Lehman, Gov. DNY, dies. In 1963, Hussain Shahid Suhrawardy, Prime Minister of Pakistan, b. 1892. In 1963, Karl Amadeus Hartmann, German composer, symphonic fragment, Attempt at a Requiem, Misery, and contemporary music promoter, Musica Viva concerts, dies of stomach cancer at 58. In 1964, Ramai Angenot, Flemish actor, met Den Helm Geberen, Patriot, Idiot, dies at 70. In 1966, Sylvie Mies, Belgian cyclist, Tour de France 1936-39, dies of cancer at 57. N.